Hello, Miami. This is 305 Sports Now, your home podcast for all things Miami sports related. I am Will, and joining me today is Jose T. Aries, founder and CEO of the apparel making company, the STARES Group. Okay, so this is pretty much what I like to call a crossover episode, ladies and gentlemen out there, right? This is an episode where we combine two different worlds, but put them in a unification and a fusion, right? So it's the business world with the sports world. And like I said, it's a crossover episode, but there is still the sports element involved, okay? Mr. Aries, okay, how you doing today, sir?
Good. How you doing, Will? How's everything?
Good. I can't complain. Listen, it was funny when we started talking about doing this episode and doing this podcast together. I had to do a little homework on you because it's my journalistic duty to find out who I'm interviewing. And so, you and I have a very, very good mutual friend, Mr. Willie Bermudez, and you were on his podcast, Biz 305. What was that like?
Man, that is awesome. Will's the best. I know him for a long time because
Okay.
Will and we used to do promoting back in the day. So we know each other from the scene. So it's pretty cool having him as a friend, and now being on his podcast is awesome. Great experience.
Yeah, and he definitely gives a lot of people a lot of exposure, and
Oh
so on. So
yeah.
he's a good guy, and he also cares, just like this podcast, which focuses on Miami. His podcast focuses a lot on Miami business, which I think is very good for entrepreneurs like yourself and so on that that could that want to get their names out there and so on. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it gives us a voice to speak, and so we could be heard because the small guys don't have the exposure that the big guys have. It's really good that he helps us, expand our horizons. So it's
Yeah.
it's really good for the exposure side of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But you have a very interesting background, and we were chatting before the show. Okay, you have a bit of a baseball background. You played baseball in high school, even dabbled in the minor leagues, right? You want to share that with the audience?
Yeah. I mean, so I started playing baseball since I was a little kid. I've always wanted to play baseball. The dream was make it to the major leagues. That was a dream, and I think that's everybody's dream when you're a little kid. You want to try to make it to the next level and then keep leveling up. I played baseball in South Miami Senior High. I actually started when I was a freshman, even though I was a little skinny twig, 135 pounds, but I was just really good at the sport, and I was a shortstop, and everything was good. We Then I went to college, and in college, I played in Jacksonville for 2 years, the community college there. I wanted to get away from Miami because it was everybody after high school would go to Miami-Dade. And back in the day, you had the South Campus, Wolfson Campus, the North Campus. It's like all the Dades had a baseball team.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to get away from that. And so I went to Jacksonville, and we had a really good time, met cool people, different people from Miami, because you're talking about Miami is a different breed. Miami is the Latin community. When you go up to the north, you're talking about English only. There's very little Hispanics. So it's really a learning curve, and you really get to appreciate Miami in itself. When I came, I did my senior year in St. Thomas University, and we went to the first team to ever make it to the College World Series and NAIA, and I was part of that team, which was really cool. Now they've made it back, I think like 9 or 10 times, and they're crushing it. They're crushing it. They have a great coach and a great program over there. But yeah, we played there, and then I played independent ball for a year. I went up to where I'm a little older, so I played in with Jose Canseco, played in that league, Ricky Henderson, Dale Strawberry. It was an independent league up, and it was called the Northern League. I played up there, and then reality hit. What do I do now? Baseball's over. What do I do? I had no second plan. My plan was make it to the majors, make it a business, make it a career. That didn't happen, and I was like, whoa, what do I do now? And that's where I took all the skills that you get from baseball and that team sport, And I took that and put it into play, and I started going and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, what people made money at. I had no idea. So I started doing financial planning because I saw the people that were in financial planning were making money. And I'm like, oh, that's a great business. I don't know. Let me dabble in it. I got my licenses, did that. Then once I actually got my licenses. I I started. I had a friend of mine that told me, hey, you should get into mortgages. This was back in like 1999. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that too. So I was doing financial planning, and I started mortgages. Well, mortgages, as you know it really took off. It's like basically how it is now. Back in 2000, and rates were really high at 14, 15%, maybe even higher. And I started getting people and learning. I started to get what I learned from financial planning. I took that into the mortgages, and I just killed it. I just killed it. I started making so much money. I left financial planning. I opened up my own firm in the mortgage industry, and for 8 years was incredible. But and then, you know what happened in 2008?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kaboom. The
Yeah.
market crashes, and I went crashing down with it because everything I did was mortgages. If I was going to do development, I had places that I was building. All that went downhill, so I had to reinvent myself. And at that point, I started dabbling in how do I figure out what I could do next. And I know I didn't want to work for anybody because I've already worked on my own, and I was really successful. I started teaching myself how to become a designer. I started learning how to work with websites, HTML code, WordPress sites. I just started learning all that trade and SEO, search engine optimization. And then I took all of that and pretty much started a t-shirt business. And the t-shirt business, how it works is, so I have a friend of mine. The friend of mine had a machine that would print your shirts, basically like a regular printer.
Mm-hmm.
You'll put the shirt in there, it starts printing. And then I would go ahead and print the shirt and sell it, and I would get the money from that would be instantly. So I could have cash flow in my hand. When you do websites, you don't really have that cash flow. I was doing mobile apps too. And what happened is these people pay you, let's say, I'm going to give you whatever, half the money down. You work on it for 3 months, then they want all these corrections and fix the website. So it took a while for you to get the other part of the money. So what I did was this is my like little income that I would make to be able to sustain myself to last throughout the months that I wasn't getting paid. And I don't know, it just took off. The t-shirt business just took off. All of a sudden I was on a DTG printer printing, but it's really slow. I might print in an hour. I could print maybe 5 to 7 t-shirts in an hour. So when Ultra comes calling, hey, I need some t-shirts. Guess what? It's gonna take me 3 weeks to get these t-shirts to you, and I gotta work, 12-hour days. So it started getting pretty crazy, and that's when I decided to learn how to screen print.
Mm.
And again, I've been self-taught throughout all of this. YouTube has been my university. YouTube University, guaranteed. It's really helped me with design, with when you're talking about how to do search engine optimization, that whole skill, all those skills that you put into place to open up your own business. And that's what I did with Stairs Group. Stairs Group, I opened it up with my wife, and I took all the skills that I had learned from all the other trades, and I put it into Stairs Group. And it's been doing really good work. We have our second location open up now in Doral. We have one in South Miami, which I would say let's say West Miami. We're right off of 59th Avenue and H Street, and then the other one's in Doral. So we have two locations, which is great. And and I know you might, yeah, I know you're going to ask me um, about how I actually started Stairs Group and how I came up with the name and whatnot. Do you want to hear that story?
Yeah, I had a two-pronged question for you.
Okay.
Because I think if I remember the stairs, you started really picking it up during the pandemic. Am I correct?
No, no. I've had my company's been open for 7 years now.
Oh, okay, okay.
This is what I'll tell you what happened during the pandemic. And since it's a two-pronged question, let me start with
Yeah, the the
how
the,
we came
the,
up with the
the
name.
second one would be the acronym, like what it stands for. That would be the second. That would have been the second question. But yeah, but start your story of how Stairs was actually born. You said you've been in business for 7 years.
Yeah, we've been in business 7 years. Pretty much, my wife and I opened up the company together, and we were thinking of a name, and I don't know, I just started writing names down, and I came up with Stairs, and we loved it just because it's an acronym of our names. It's Stephanie, which is S for Stephanie. My nickname's T, put the T in there, and then our last name is Aries. So came up with Stairs. So it worked out really good. And to this day, I don't know how I came up with that, but it worked out, really good. The other thing you asked about the pandemic. And during the pandemic, what had happened was we were in business doing screen printing, nothing else. You had to either make masks or sit
Mm,
home and do nothing.
okay.
I started, what I did was I had to improvise. I did what the military does: improvise, overcome, adapt. That's what they do. That's how they survive. I've lost it all before. I didn't want to lose it all again. I didn't want to stay home sitting down in the house and basically letting my income just, disappear from my wallet like it did before. So what I did was I came into the office and I started trying to figure out how to make a mask. And I had a bunch of material that I could make it with. And I had a friend of mine call me that he has a restaurant, and he's like, "Hey, I need 50 masks." This is in pandemic, when nobody had masks. You
Yeah.
know, you went on Amazon and you could buy it, but it said 6 to 8 weeks to come in.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it's
see the
funny. It's interesting that you say that. Forgive me for interrupting you, but
no, no.
it's interesting you say that because there was a shortage at one point, of masks because it was in such high demand, especially when people were locked in general, that companies that normally don't make masks at all, they make pillowcases or bed sheets and stuff like that, had converted themselves to making masks as well. So you just basically adapted to the time. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the problem with me is my machines embroider. They don't sew like a regular sewing machine. And you couldn't buy a sewing machine at that point. Every sewing machine in the world was basically was out of stock. So I had to come here and I had to figure out, what do I do? How do I do this? So what I did, I just invented how to make a mask on our machines. I had to hand stitch it with the machine, and it's scary because those machines, they don't play. That thing hits your finger and you're done.
Mm,
But I started sourcing material that I didn't have, like the rubber bands or whatnot, and I made it work. I was at the end of, I was making thousands of masks out of the office, and I was able to hire back all my employees. And thank God that I thought of that, because if not, I would have been dead in the water for
yeah.
sure. I don't think we would be talking right now. I think our business would be closed if it wasn't for that. So it was a blessing in disguise, having the 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 thinking of, hey, I could do it, because I had never made a mask in my life. It's pretty tough to make a mask
No,
if you don't have the right thing.
I can imagine you go from making polos, and t-shirts to all of a sudden, and the mask is like, it's very sophisticated because sometimes you wear, I mean, when I used to wear masks all the time because every business required you to come in with a mask. there were some
Yeah.
masks that I hated wearing because it would either go up my nose or like there's a skill that comes with having to make one of those doggone pandemic masks, in particular.
Dude.
So God bless you for figuring
Yeah.
it out, man, because like a lot of people business wise went under,
Yeah.
because of COVID and the pandemic and the lockdowns. And because even though Florida wasn't completely locked down, we still were closed in many varieties. So a lot of businesses closed shop, because of that, because they just
Yeah.
lost revenue and they wouldn't adapt to it, in
Yeah.
particular.
I
So
mean,
so
you couldn't, I mean, in reality, you couldn't open. You had to, the only way that you could be open is if you were a first responder. If
yeah.
what was the other thing?
Oh,
If like
grocery stores were another one
grocery
too.
store.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you had like roofers could still work. Like there were some people that could work, but the majority of people, they couldn't open their shop. But since I could make a mask, they couldn't shut me down. So I
Yeah.
could literally open up my door and not have the city come in and tell me, "Hey, knock on my door. Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
you gotta stop working."
Yeah, because you're deemed
So
essential.
yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah,
deemed to
yeah,
say,
yeah.
yeah, you're deemed an essential worker. I want to ask you now, since you brought up the restaurant. First of all, to give the restaurant a little bit of credit for hiring you, being a small business owner. What's the name of
Yeah.
the restaurant, and
Oh,
who's the boss you work with?
yeah. It diced.
Okay, Diced.
You know who Dice is? Dice Food. They
Yes.
so they're the healthy nutrition or the healthy choice, and it's kind of like a fast food, but it's super nutritious. It's healthy, and they have this sauce that you need to try. It's a three sauce thing that they have. I mean, it's incredible. So yeah, Otto Garcia is the owner. He's one of the
Okay.
owners, and yeah, they were the first ones to reach out and say, "Hey, listen, we need math. We have nothing." And I told them, "I have no idea how to make this, but I'll try." And he's like, "Listen, at this point, I'm gonna be shut down if I don't have any mass. So whatever you could give me, I'll be happy with." And luckily I made it. And then we had to make some adjustments to it because the strap was too tight.
Yeah.
We didn't know that having a strap on your ear was gonna bother you for, if you're wearing it for 5 hours, 6 hours, dude, get rashes and it was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we adjusted.
Good. 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 And anybody else other than Dice that you work with as well during
I,
the
I
time period?
mean, I did a bunch of stuff. I mean, as you know, I work with FIU. I did a bunch of
Yeah.
masks for them. The gaiters that are the ones that cover your nose
Yeah.
and go all the way down to your neck that they're used for fishing. Did a bunch of those. Who else did I do things for? El Mago de la Frita. I did. I don't know if you know those people. They've been like on. It's a frita place. If you haven't heard of them,
Yeah. I've heard of them.
those people have the best fritas in Miami, but they're like a little hole in the wall.
Yeah.
But they've been in Man versus Food. They've had, I think Obama was in there, went to visit them when he was here. Like it's freaking, it's good. It's cool. Their little store that they have there. Really
Yeah.
nice people too.
Yeah.
But I
Absolutely. But go
can't
ahead.
remember who else. I've done so many that I don't even remember. I can't recall right now off the top of my head who else we did. I need my wife here so she could tell me. Remember? But no, we were doing so many masks, and we were doing thousands of them in a week.
Okay.
So we couldn't even keep up.
Yeah, but that's great though. You stayed, like I said, you stayed in business. You adapted. You adapted to the situation. You made the
E-
mass.
Everything,
And
everything I
but
think goes back to baseball. When you're on a slump, what you got to do is you got to go and start with the fundamentals and figure out what you're doing wrong and fixing it. That's what I kind of always do whenever I'm doing something in business. I always think, what would I do in baseball? Because the transition between baseball and business has been tough because you're thinking, okay, what do I do for baseball? I know exactly what to do. I got to go to the gym. I got to run. I have to catch the ball. I got to throw the ball with long toss. We have to hit in the cage. We have to do all these things. I know it all. I know how to get really good at baseball. How do I do that and bring it into my business as an entrepreneur?
Hmm.
What do I do? How do I get to that point? You have all these ideas. I could, how do you market to them? How do you become different than everybody else? How, because everybody, if you start asking, everybody does t-shirts. What makes me different from them? You have to start thinking outside of the box and everything and figuring out what you do. And I think baseball has always taught me the fundamentals of life. And if any team sport, I think gives you that option to, and then my son will be playing some type of sport. And I know you have a kid too. Do you have a boy or a girl?
I have a boy.
A boy. So you're gonna be in, you're closer than me because your
Yeah.
boy's older than me. So you're gonna put him in that team sport because you're gonna want him to learn the skills to make it in life. And baseball is a failure sport. If you can't make it, knowing that you're gonna fail more times than not, but as long as you could get up all the times, at the end of the day, all you got to do is just make it that one time. Baseball player, just 3 hits out of 10 at bats.
He
You're an
bats
all
300.
star.
Yeah.
No, not even all
That
star. You're
and
you're
you're the
you're
Hall of
making it a
Fame.
Hall of Famer.
You're in the freaking
Yes.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So I mean, think of it that way, and you're like, shit. I could fail all those times and still make it. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, going into team and so on, and you're one thing about sports, it develops teamwork, and in many cases you have to help your teammate, especially if they're in a slump or if they're struggling or they're not in the right headspace. So I think that
Mhm.
from seeing you speaking with Willie, and talking to you a little bit, you kind of have that mindset when it comes to dealing with customers, and basically that your main goal as an entrepreneur is, yeah, you want to make money, obviously, 'cause you got to feed your family, you want to give them a good life, but you also want to be in the business of helping people. I think what's different, is someone that prints out shirts and doesn't know the face of their customer, versus somebody that does print out shirts and knows their customer directly by name. And from what I understand, that is the Stairs Group. That is you. Like you're
Yeah.
in the business of helping people, with your apparels and embroideries and so on. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, you're serving others.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, you gotta. I'm trying to give someone a high quality product at a competitive price that they will be happy with. And if they're not happy with what I did with my job, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna make sure that they're happy. If I need to, if they need me to deliver it and they can't make it, I'll make that delivery on a Friday, on a Saturday, on a Sunday, whatever it is that I can help the customer with. I will try to do and make them happy because at the end of the day, it's like happy customer, happy life. The happy, happy wife,
A happy
happy
life.
life.
Yes.
Kind of the same thing. Just keep them happy. Just keep them happy. If you go onto our reviews on Google, you'll see 99.9 of them are all positive reviews. The only review that I have that's bad is the guy, he didn't even write anything. People could just go on Google and just click a box and say 1 star, but if they don't even tell you what it is, you have no idea. So it's things like that you want to make sure that if somebody gives you a review, you got to go on there and you got to tell them, thank you for the review. You have to make sure that you're always grateful for what you have
Yeah.
because gratitude is everything. It's, to me, affirmations, gratitude journal, all everything that has to do with giving back and being grateful for what you have because you never know when you're going to need somebody's help. And I mean, I don't do it for that. I just do it because I like giving things away. I like to see people smile. It's so much better. I rather give a gift than receive a gift. I don't know. Maybe that's for you too. Don't you feel so much better when you give something to somebody and they're super happy?
Oh, of course.
And I love to see that
Absolutely.
smile on their face. You're like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
absolutely. Especially know that they're appreciative of it too. I think that really brings joy, to anybody. That basically when you get, the phrase is better to give than to receive is true. When you
Mhm,
give and so on, and you give yourself and you do it with a good heart and whatnot, it's much more fulfilling than anything else.
mhm,
Funny story. Funny story. When you were telling your story about happiness and talking to customers and reviews, Amazon. Amazon is interesting because Bezos and Amazon get a lot of heat because they make so much money.
mhm,
Personally, I don't think it's their fault. People want to order from them, and I'm going to explain to you why people order from them. I years ago when they first released their Amazon Fire Stick, the 4K, I
mhm.
bought one of theirs when it just came out, and a lot of times when you buy something new, there's glitches, in particular. So I bought it. It was horrible, Jose. I mean, the TV box was in the corner. It was bad, and I'm like, this is disgusting. It's 4K. So I put it in, and I put a negative review of the device. Just I'm trying to warn people. For me to do a review, a negative review, you had to be really bad. You know, Amazon saw that and they
Wow.
called me personally, said, "Hey, what happened? Is it okay?" And I said, "No, your 4K device is like it's showing me that it's not even working right. It's like half a screen. I see the half the actor's face, and like don't worry about it. We'll send you a new one. That's it.
Mhm.
No questions asked. No complaints. And guess what? I order from Amazon. Why? Because
Yeah,
when everybody says, "Oh, Amazon," listen, when it comes to customer service, they're better than Disney.
yeah, yeah.
Much better than
I
Disney.
I don't know. Disney's pretty is up there, so it's pretty tough to beat Disney. But no, I agree. I
But
agree.
Jose, if you, I
Yeah.
don't know if you've taken your kid to Disney yet,
I
but if
haven't, not yet, not yet,
let
not
me, well,
yet.
you want to talk to somebody about a simple hotel reservation, they will leave you on the phone for 2 hours and then end with have a magical day. All right. They will leave you on the phone for two
Oh my
hours,
God.
2 hours and so on. And no, no, no. You pray to God you could do everything online because having to talk to a person at Disney, yet Amazon, in
They call
general, they call you right back in 10 minutes. It's like, hey, what's going on?
that
Are you okay? Just give us a second. If you want, go chat. No, no, no. So yeah, so that's
I,
what I'm trying to say. Like my point is that's the way you keep customers.
yeah,
By
yeah,
showing that you care about them and showing that you want them to like their products, that you
yeah,
want them to like your product. That's how you keep customers. That's pretty much why I told that story. You
yeah. No,
know.
it's a great story. That's what I'm trying to do is make sure that they're happy. And if
Mhm.
somebody calls me and tells me, "Hey, I am, I hate my order." Okay, let me see what happened. Where did it go wrong? Because we have a bunch, we send them proofs, they send us what they want, we put it on the shirt identical to what they want. But maybe, in some cases, let's say I gave somebody a hat. They asked for a particular hat, and they're like, oh, it's too cheap. I'm like, it's a dad hat. The dad hat is like the one you have on now. It's really soft on the top,
Yeah.
and but this one it's softer, and but they wanted Velcro in the back. The Velcro one, there's not very many options, and it's a cheaper hat, but they weren't happy with it. Okay, well, let me try to fix the problem. I can't have I can't have you mad at me if and it was their fault. They're the one that picked the hat. But
Yeah.
hey, you know what? Give me the hat. I'll make you a new hat. What hat do you want? You want that hat? You want this? Okay, and I take them the hat, and I'll show them the better hat, and I'll give it to them, just because it's to me. I think it's whatever it's karma. Whatever you do to somebody, it always comes back to you. So make sure that you're how you want to be treated, you treat others. And if you could do that, and they see that you're sincere, you're able to obtain many customers. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, I'm always really nice. Unfortunately, that I have to speak to a billion people, because when you're making t-shirts, you have to have a lot of customers, because you're making, a t-shirt's only a few dollars. You're only making a few bucks. So I have a lot of customers. I see, I think in a year, like 2,000 customers.
Wow.
That's a lot. It's
Yeah.
like it's like so imagine you have to deal with all these 2,000 customers, and then you have to be the face of it, and it gets overwhelming. So I need to make sure that I'm on point, my employees are on point, that we're giving that good service, and also the product has to look good too. I don't want my employee to give me a ugly looking hat.
Hmm.
If I see that the design is wrong, I gotta fix it. I can't, even if the guy approved it, I still have to make sure that that hat looks really good. Make sure that I would wear the hat, because that's the main thing, is for the people to be happy and you give a quality product,
Okay.
you know. So
And let me
and
tell you.
I'm gonna make you a hat though, by the way.
Okay,
The thing
perfect.
is that the problem is that your logo are just fonts, and then you have that this background of
It,
downtown Miami.
it's
Who
it's
who
the
could put that
FT,
on a hat?
it's the FTX arena. I have to represent.
It's it's
It's
amazing,
my
but
it's 305.
I gotta put 305 now or whatever. Just like put it, just the letters itself, because I'm looking at that background. I'm like, yeah, that's almost impossible to put on a hat.
Listen, I trust your judgment. Do what you like. Do what you think is best.
So
You do good work. I saw what you did with
I,
Willie's hat. So you do good
yeah,
work.
no, Willie's hat was cool. But I see
Yeah.
that you like the dad hat, so I'm gonna make you another type of
Listen,
hat.
I actually like all hats, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I could wear a dad hat. This was free, so I took it, and
yeah.
but I like all whatever you want. I appreciate it. You really don't have to, but I really appreciate you doing
No,
that
no,
for me and doing it for the
you,
program. So whatever you want. I
no,
mean,
yeah,
and whatever logo you think, as far as we'll look at on the hat in terms of the design, I trust your judgment. So,
yeah.
so
I've been killing myself thinking, how do I make this guy his hat? Because we're doing this podcast on Zoom, and it's always a little weird when I don't have somebody in front of me.
yeah, I know. I
You
know.
you need to switch that up.
I just switch it up.
Yeah, I need you to make one in person so I could attend that one.
Okay, I'll try. I'll try. I do remote. I do remote. Yeah, well, you're a father too. You work. I'm a teacher.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I think I do remote because a lot of people I interview, I feel like it's easier for them. They don't have to leave their home,
yeah, yeah.
and whatnot. And so that's one of the reasons why I do the whole remote
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, if one day, if you want,
I'm just joking with you
I
about.
I know, I know. No, but I'm telling you, like a lot of I do remote basically. Like you like making the customer happy. I like making the person I'm interviewing happy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those
yeah.
things because like I had like for example, like I was interviewing a fighter, and the fighter thought he had to go to a studio, to interview. I go, no, no,
Mm,
no, no, buddy. It's Brian Falero. I interviewed him, great interview
yeah.
a couple weeks ago. I said, no, Brian, it's remote. You can do it from your house. Oh, thank God. Oh, good. 11's fine. 11's fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're remote, because
Yeah,
a lot of the interviews like it. But yeah, man,
yeah,
hopefully one day too, this will blow up and I could do something like Willie that has a beautiful studio,
yeah,
inside his home, man. So that's the
yeah, yeah.
thing.
He has a good setup, and
He
and
does.
what's
He
good
really
and what's good
does.
is that he's doing it all in one day, so he'll do a whole week, and he could just record it all, or he could do the whole month. If you do one a month, you
Yeah.
could basically do record it all in one day, which
Yeah.
is great. That's what he does.
Yeah, a lot of YouTubers do that as well. They'll do 6 hour shifts and they'll
Right,
just do topic, and they'll edit it with that one frame that one day, and then they'll shoot it out and do like 5 videos in one day to have as much content out there as
right.
possible. So yeah, it's totally doable, in particular. But yeah, but like I said, man, Willie's setup is like that
Yeah,
white, that microphone, it's very Miami,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he's got a nice little setup there, man. Anyways,
So
go ahead.
let me ask you a question.
Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna
buddy.
interview I'm gonna interview you now.
Uh-oh.
What
Role
what's
switching. Go ahead.
what's what's your dream? What taking the podcast to the next level that you said. What are your what are your aspirations? Where do you want to take it? How far do you want to take it?
I want to be, I would, humbly speaking, this was always my dream. I wanted originally to be in sports. I became a teacher I love what I do as an educator. I see the kids, I help lives, and I've dealt with situations, where kids need somebody to look up to, so I love what I do. Originally, I wanted to be a broadcaster. That was my dream. You could tell by my email, which starts with ESPN, so
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to be, that was my goal. It didn't work out for me, at FIU in particular. So I switched to political science. And when I graduated, it was kind of a tough era for journalism. A lot of people in television and print were getting fired. It was we were heading for a recession, housing market. A lot of people were getting fired, and so on. So it didn't work out. Podcasting comes along, and I see, that I didn't realize how easy it was to just start. The grind is hard. You have to really put time and effort and want to have a good product, but it's easy to start. It's just like, for me, this is like a dream come true, because I'm on a major platform. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple, I'm on Google, and I'm talking sports. So my goal is to blow this up. Like, I really want to make 305 Sports now a household name. Like, I want people to be like, oh, when is Will going to release a new episode? Or, oh, let me go see what Will's got going on his network. That's what I want to be. And that's my dream. And I told my wife, I've even said this on social media. I go, I am a bull, and you are not going to stop me. I am going to continue to push content no matter what. So that's my dream. Like, I want this to blow up. I want this to be big.
All right. I asked you that question just because, you want to always surround yourself around like-minded people.
Yeah.
And my drive is the same as yours. We want to make it to another level. You want to be, I want to be the best at what I do. And that's what you want to do, is you want to be the best at what you do. And what's good is that you have a platform right now that you could do whatever you want. Nobody could tell you who to interview, who not to interview, how to interview them, nothing. If you want to go to the South Beach and interview the person on the beach, you could do it, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great time for you to be in business. And right now, I know it's not a business, but it could turn into that, because you could get enough people watching it, interested in it. And I think your voice is really good. I think
Thank
you
you.
have a really good voice, and it comes natural to you, which is great.
Yeah.
So I think you're on the right path.
Yeah. And before I go into your testimonials, the wonderful thing, I just want to say this, the wonderful thing about podcasting in this platform, and I think Willie could attest to it too, because Willie has his own thing, is that you don't have a boss. Yeah, I have Spotify that, I have to fit their guidelines, but you don't have a boss. And like you said, if I want to go to the beach and interview somebody, I can go to the beach. No one's going to be like, no, you have to be. No. I can do whatever I want. I can interview whomever I want. I could talk to whomever I want. I could create a topic however I want. So there's freedom and also an entrepreneurship as well. I think you'll appreciate this because you're an entrepreneur. You know who Kevin O'Leary is?
Of course.
Mr. Wonderful.
Who doesn't?
You know what his do you know what his famous phrase is? Have you heard his famous phrase?
I mean, he has a few of them, but
okay,
go ahead.
I think for me, the arrogant Mr. Moneypants that he portrays on Shark Tank is kind of an act. It's kind of an act. I think he's much more humble and much more well-rounded than he gives himself credit for. He said once, "You want to weaken a man? Give him a paycheck."
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I take a paycheck. I'm a teacher, but he says that because he says that he in his philosophy, getting a steady paycheck creates complacency. But when you want to be an entrepreneur, and like yourself, like for yourself, when you went from holy crap, I need to make a mask. So what you found ways to make a mask. You made that mask. So that's something that I think that you and I share in that spirit. You know what I mean? It's like I know that I have ESPN to worry about because they don't just have cable, they have podcasters now as well. All right. I don't have to worry about Fox Sports because they have podcasters. So I'm competing against a lot of up there echelon people. So what do? I try to change things up. I bring people on from different backgrounds, different specialties as well. I don't just stick to one thing. So I think that's very important in the world of business, also in the world of entertainment as well. You can't stay stale.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, Tony Robbins says, if you stop growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
So if you need to continue to grow and not do the same things that everybody else does. So you're on the right track. And I think we all have to evolve. We all have to get better at what we do. And some people want to stay at their position. That's totally fine. I am on a mission to become the better version of myself. And that is changing exactly who I am and becoming somebody who I could dream only about, because that person is always 10 steps ahead of you, because you're like, damn, I got it. I'm
Yeah.
here in this position. I shit, I should be in another position. I should be way over here. And you're always trying to catch that person, and you're always trying to catch up to who you really want to be. And then once you hit that milestone, you're like, oh, okay, I'm here. But what do I do next? And you always have to have that, what do you do next?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I write down my goals. Grant Cardone writes it almost, I think, every day. He writes down his goal, and I think that really helps you, making sure that you see what you're doing and what your final objective is. You want to blow, your company up. You need to continue growing and not do the same thing over and over and over. Continue progressing, and it's hard because, like you said, you're a father, you have a family, you have a wife, and it's hard to raise a kid. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be that hard. It is hard, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You have no time for yourself. The kid is your full-time job,
Yeah.
and and you love him to death, but you lose yourself within raising that son of yours, which is, I have a son as well. And we got to adapt to our new surroundings and say, what do I do now? I have to figure things out. You figured it out. Hey, I'm going to do a podcast from home remotely, and I could sneak it in without disturbing
Mm-hmm.
my life,
Yeah.
and still have time to do that. And that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm always trying to figure that out myself. How do how can I work more? But then you start thinking, you know what? It's better, work smarter, not harder. That saying that they say, and it's completely true.
Yeah.
You should work smarter, not harder, because you could be a hardworking person. I mean, nobody works harder than the construction worker that's laying those bricks, but he's still making minimum wage,
Yeah.
you know? So it doesn't mean that you have to work harder to make more money.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the other thing. So I mean, it's good. I'm glad to see we're on the same page of trying to grow and get better at life, which, and show your kid too. You want to show,
Yeah.
your son, hey, this is how you do it. This is the example, because they're sponges. You can't say anything in front of them without them even noticing. Even if you think you're doing it without them seeing you, they saw you.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, and then I'm gonna go into your video testimonials, but this is a good conversation. My son, and you're gonna see this more and more since he's getting older. My son is about 6 months older than yours.
Mhm.
All right, my son, like I told you before we started, he has mamitis and loves his mom. He
Mhm.
loves his mom, mama, mama, all that stuff. But who do you think he imitates the most?
Yeah, your
Me.
Poppy.
My movements, my mannerisms, and so on. He imitates me. He tries to
Yeah,
emulate me.
yeah,
So the phrase his sons try to emulate their fathers, that's absolutely true. And
yeah.
a lot of it is caught, not taught. So whatever your kid sees you doing, he's going to
Mhm.
mimic.
There
So
you
it's one
go.
thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, so absolutely. So if he sees me working that microphone and so on, and he decides to do this in the future, which wouldn't surprise me. He's got that. He's got somebody that's willing to coach him and work with him and teach him and mentor him the right way. Because I like to do honest journalism, and I like to do people first type of interviews and so on.
Mhm.
And that's, I think that's very important. I think that's missing in the world today. And so on.
Yeah.
I'd rather people be like, oh, he's not arguing. They give a fake
Mhm.
argument and it's not like an idiot. So which
Yeah.
happens a lot in the major networks, that they just
Yeah.
like the whole controversy and so on. But you, my friend. But you, my friend, nothing controversial about your Google reviews in general. And by the way, I'm sure that review was an accident. You probably just clicked 1 star and accidentally clicked submit. You probably wanted to give you a 4. All right, let's just,
And the thing is, Google doesn't fix it. So you're like, shit, what do
yeah,
I do now? I don't even know who it is.
yeah, exactly. But you know what? I have somebody here. Have somebody here. They gave a video testimonial that you know who this person is. That when the audience is hearing this person and viewing this person, I want you to explain their history because you gave a very nice history about them in Willie's show in the Biz 305.
Roll the clip.
I was more than impressed by the quality and customer service at Stairs Group. They really listened to exactly what I wanted. They were very efficient, very friendly. I gave them 5 stars, and I will definitely be using this company again. If you're looking for a printing company, look no more. Stairs Group is exactly what you need.
All right, that was thank you very much, Mr. Willie Bermudez of Biz 305, providing that footage of the testimonial and a positive review for the Stairs Group. You had an interesting interaction with that family because it was a couple that ordered a shirt. Am I correct? And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that company is called Deck Lending, and there are 3 partners. They do from hard equity loans. They do real estate. They do closings, and they've been growing. And I basically do their all of their apparel. What I gotta say is that when you're working with somebody, just make sure that you give them all the attention that you can. Make sure that you are honest with them and give them the best shirt. That polo that I gave them was a Nike polo, and we embroidered their logo on it. It's actually the same polo that I have on right now. It's one of the best polos out in the market. It's a little more on the expensive side, but it is top notch for sure. And and I appreciate. I asked. That's one of the partners, or partners' wives, and she did the testimonial, and it was amazing how appreciative they are of our services and how we have been able to produce their shirts. I'll tell you a story. They invited me and my wife and my son to one of their events. They were giving back themselves to the homeless, and we went to Camilla's house, and I printed out all the shirts for them. We got the shirts. We started serving all of the community, and it was all homeless people, and we were out there giving them the food. They bought Chick-fil-A for everybody, and it was a great event. And that's the type of people that I love to work with and I love to be part of, giving back to the community, giving back to everybody to help out. Just, homeless people. I mean, they were eating great food, Chick-fil-A, and that's the type of people that we like to work with, and we love our customers, and they invited us to that event, and it was really the first time that I have ever done that, to give back in that sense, because I've never done anything giving to the homeless or anything like that. I always want to do it, but I never have time to do it. But I made time this time, and I took my son, and he was able to see that you give back to people that need help. It's not only about you, it's about giving back to everybody. But it was really good.
That's a great story, and again, a very nice testimonial coming from one of your own customers and so on. And you've built such a positive reputation that you're now we're going to enter the sports world, that you actually do FIU's apparel. Okay, how did that relationship start, and how long will we be partnering up with Florida International University?
So remember when we were talking about before we were talking about how I got to STARES Group and how I learned search engine optimization. They came in. It's funny. I've been doing search engine optimization and trying to get Google to rank me. It was, I remember it was a Saturday about noon. I get a phone call on our company phone. My wife looks at it. I look at it. I'm like, don't answer it. And she's like, no, no, no. I gotta answer it. It's the work phone, but we're not open. But she's gonna answer it anyway. She grabs the phone and says, "Hello, can I Stairs Group? Can I help you?" And it's FIU. It's FIU baseball. And the guy calls us and tells us, "Hey, listen, we need 150 shirts printed on Monday. Can you do it?" Guess what we said?
Yes.
Damn right we can. No, everybody was telling him no. Everybody basically told him no. I said yes. I told my wife, of course, let's do it. In order for you to do the setup, print 150 shirts, at that time we were just starting off. It was going to be hard. We're going to have to work a good amount of time to get those shirts done. And everybody in Miami that they called said no. They said it was too short a time. Well, I made time for them. And guess what? 5 years later, I started with a baseball team. I have the whole school.
Nice.
I do the whole school. I do the football team. There's not any apparel that goes out there that I haven't done. I do it all. The hats, the visors, the book bags, the backpacks, you name it. My name's on there, on all of those items, and they trust me because when it's time for them to get something done, guess what answer I'm going to give them?
Yes.
Yes.
Or damn right. That's or damn right. I'm gonna do it.
Or damn right. Yeah. I don't say yes anymore. Damn right I could do it. Yeah, but I don't say no. Even if they could come to me and they've done it before. Hey, I need 500 of these shirts printed and I need it in 2 days. And I'm like, okay, let's go do it. What are you can't say no. If you say no, you're letting them down.
Absolutely.
You can't let anybody down. I'm here to help you. And if some people, not all the time does that happen, but there's sometimes that you're going to have an event, the ball's dropped from somebody. I'm here to help out. So and that at that time they didn't get the shirts. They ordered the shirts through Adidas. Adidas didn't send them the shirts on time. I only had 2 days to print the shirts because they took 2 weeks for them to get there. In that case, yeah, we got to do what we got to do. Hey, we got to work on a Saturday. We got to work on a Sunday. Oh, well, we got to do it. I've worked on 4th of July, on New Year's. You name the day, and I've had to work for some customer, whether it's been FIU. I mean, FIU's, we are all love. It's the biggest university. I think the second biggest, I think nationwide. I think USFL or USF. USF, I think, is the biggest one in the nation.
Oh, I don't have those numbers in front of me, so I'm not sure, but it is pretty
But
big. It has a very large
they're
student
huge.
body.
They're
Like
huge.
30,000 kids, I think, or kids. Look at me,
Yeah.
students.
Yeah,
They're not all
yeah,
kids. Trust me, they're not all kids.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, I do shirts for Amazon, Guinness, Formula One. I just did their shirts. We get all sorts of calls. What's great is when there's an event, the event's coming here, they can't bring all those shirts in the airplane with them. Somebody orders 1,000 shirts. Who's going to bring 1,000 shirts on an airplane from California or wherever they're at? So I get a lot of those people ordering. I get people from all around the country ordering. And if they have an event here, Art Basel, I do a bunch of stuff for Art Basel. It's Ultra. I've printed for the Marlins, the Dolphins, the Miami Heat. I print for probably more than anybody. I do all of the are they dancers? Are they Heat dancers, right?
Yeah, they're dancers. Yeah.
Dancers. I do the Heat dancers. I do all of their apparel. I've done so much stuff for for the Heat. They're I guess my favorite team now. Even even though the Dolphins are are my number one, but of course
Yeah, I mean, of course. I love my favorite football team is the Dolphins. My favorite basketball team
yeah
is the Miami Heat.
yeah
So
yeah of course
congratulations. But you know what? Your evidence. And we're running short on time here. But your
yeah
evidence that you could be an honest businessman and have a heart and so on and still be successful. You don't have to be cutthroat, cut corners, or be cheap, to achieve success. So God bless you for coming on the show, and God bless you for what you do, because that is a testimonial of a businessman, that people need, and how business management people need to hear. All right, the
yeah
guy that started from not knowing what to do because the baseball career was over, from financial planning to mortgages, now to making apparel of all kinds. It's a phenomenal story that you have, Jose. It really
thank
is. And thank you
thank
so
you
much for
thank you
sharing it with me and our listening public here and viewing as
yeah
well.
well I mean thank you for having me on the show. I know that the next time I get on this show, you're gonna have 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, and you're gonna be killing it. Joe Rogan, who?
There we
I'll
go.
throw him. I
Oh
love that
man.
guy. I love that guy though.
Yeah,
He's awesome,
he's a trip. And
dude.
it's
That
funny
guy's
though.
awesome.
It's funny though, because he has anybody on his show. It's like it could be from, to a top businessman like Elon Musk to, just a regular novelist
Yeah,
that's trying to get his name out
yeah,
there. He puts anybody in the show. So you got to commend Joe for
yeah.
doing that. He
No,
just wants to meet
he's
people. That's
awesome.
his thing. Yeah, it's his way of doing
I,
things. Yeah.
I think, well, he said something the other day that he said that he likes to interview cool people.
Yeah.
If you're cool, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to talk to you, and
Yeah.
that's why I want on my show. I want it to be a cool, fun experience.
Yeah.
And I think we've done that in our show now. Is that
Yeah, definitely.
it's been a great interview. You ask awesome questions, and you've done a phenomenal job. Just and again, I'm gonna be on your show when 200,000 hit on YouTube.
There we
You
go.
got to put me. You heard it here first. Once you get to that 200,000, you're gonna hit me up.
Oh, for sure. And you'll be on here, and I'll be wearing my Stairs Group 305 Sports Now hat, and maybe a shirt, representing, Stairs Group in general. Jose, thank you so much for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it. I had a blast. Rarely do the interviewers ask me a question, put me on the spot, but it's okay, But again, podcasting is supposed to be more casual and more fun, and that's exactly what we had today. So that's one of the
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that I do appreciate about this platform. All right, everybody, if you like what you hear, please do not forget to download on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Also, if you're watching the live version, the visual version, please do not forget to subscribe on YouTube. Okay, 305 Sports Now bonus interviews. All right. If you want to join our Facebook family, it's 305 Sports Now. Hit that like button. You're part of a family. All right. So everybody, once again, for me, I am Will, Mr. Jose STARES. Have a wonderful day. God bless and stay safe. See you soon.